Hey everyone, good morning. It's Rebecca Undum, and this is Rebecca Undum Live. I didn't come up with any fancy or cool name for the show that we're going to be doing every single week, but I'm so happy to be here with you again on this going to be warmer, hopefully, where I'm at anyway, 4th of July week. So it is Monday morning at 9 a.m. in rural North Dakota. So I am coming at you live from a small town in rural North Dakota. Got kind of an exciting thing I'm going to share with you guys here in a minute. But for those of you that are new to me, I'm Rebecca Undum, founder of Groove School and author of How Mommy Got Her Groove Back. I am a rural mom. I'm a farmer's wife, sometimes reluctantly so. It wasn't ever really in the plan to be back here, but I'm also a personal and professional development junkie. Just can't get enough of it. And so that's what this Facebook Live show is all about. Today we're talking about vision, but before we get to that, as we're kind of letting people join us here, I always think it's fun to hear where people are calling in from. And so, or not, you're not calling in, but just viewing, you're watching. I would love to know so we're kind of doing a little contest here. So my rural community in North Dakota, Oakes, O-A-K-E-S, please don't forget the E, has 1,800 people in it. I would love to hear what is the size of the community that you're living in currently. And just for kicks, through Wednesday, so we'll get through the holidays, so this will apply for those of you watching on replay as well. I'm going to send a book to whoever posts the smallest population. Just because I feel like us people like out in the middle of nowhere, we need extra little perks and extra little love. And I'm guessing not a lot of other authors are like, hey, tiny little town person, I'm going to send you a book, but I will. So if you think you live in a town, the smallest town, doesn't matter, just tell me. 1,800 is where I'm living, in a town of 1,800. So smallest population, I want to know the population and of course where it's actually at. And then if you win, I'll announce the winner on Wednesday morning. So at any point in the live broadcast here, all you got to do is just put your name of your town and the population, and I'll send you a book for free just because I love you. And so I'll also say this for those of you watching, if you're like, I have a friend that lives in a really small town and you think that they'd want my book even, really this book it's my personal memoir. It's got sprinkled with some good advice, I think, but it's not an advice driven book. It really is a story and it's meant to be such. So if you know somebody that you think should get in on this, just share the video out. You can share it out live, you can share the replay, whatever, but we're giving away a book to the person living in the smallest town. Because like I said, no one else loves on small town people, so I will. Okay, so let's get started. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you to start with, but I don't think so. I'll announce the winner on Wednesday. It's a big thing to know. So you guys can say hi to me too, like if you're joining and you're going to listen in on this, I would love to hear from you. Just give me some comments to work from. But this is kind of a continuation from last week. So last week we talked about the importance of visualization. And I started with that because I think it really sets the stage for what is even the point. So kind of going back a little bit to that, if you've never written a vision, that's not actually all that surprising to me. I think a lot of people end up writing visions in some sort of a workshop situation, either in a workshop about vision, or maybe they do it as a activity in a workshop for work. But I don't think most of the time that the way visions are explained, or the process that people are given to write them, I just don't think it's usually that inspiring. And so people write them and then they don't know what to do with them, and it doesn't really even seem to matter. So last week I said, most of us have been exposed to The Secret. This isn't really even just that. It's more than that. For me, it's about a roadmap. So like every day I get up and I do things, what's the point of those things? It's to lead me to some destination. And so the idea behind this vision process that I'm going to share with you today, it's 7 steps, the 7-step process to writing a vision. It is all to get us to a future place. And it's a place that we should decide about. Otherwise, we will land somewhere. It just may not be where we actually want or intend. Okay? So last week was all about visualization, and the whole thing about visualization is that your brain cannot distinguish the difference between something that's actually happened and something that's imagined if what the image that it's given is vivid enough and descriptive enough. And so we talked about the analogy of movies. Thinking about the fact that when a movie is really either well written, good morning, Glow. I was so happy to see you. I love it when you guys, so I will always like stop my own thoughts, and then that's kind of scary because I'm a tangent speaker anyway, but I want to say hi to you all. So please say good morning, say whatever you want. I'll do my best to kind of talk to you as I'm going here. So we talked about a movie script. It's all about the fact that like you can sit and watch a movie or really good TV. Hey, LaDonna, welcome. And your brain, you get completely enraptured and completely wrapped up in the characters. And so sometimes it's about the quality of the writing, sometimes it's about the quality of the actors. But the whole point is, we know logically in our actual brain that what we're watching isn't real. But when it's good and it's riveting, it doesn't matter. And so the whole idea is to use that same science of what happens in our brains to write a vision that we actually care about. Okay, so all you had to do last week with the kind of the assignment or the homework, if people wanted to do this little challenge as we work through this process, was really just to sit down and think about what is it that I want to feel? Like, what is the goal that I think I want? But you don't have to get all overly clear on that because that's what today is about. But what do I really want to feel? You know, is it successful? Is it happy? Is it joyful? Is it peaceful? Being able to actually land on what we're trying to feel is the first step. So for those of you that joined me last week and you're there, today we're talking about the actual 7 steps. Now I have worked through this process with a lot of people, specifically women, but of course it works for men as well. And I just can't tell you enough how important every single step in this process is. It's not as if you can short circuit something and get to this result easier. It just takes some focus and some effort. And so what I will say before we get into the 7 steps is that I would be happy to have you actually join in and say, yep, I'm going to write a vision. And I'm going to tell you at the end even what extra little thing I'll throw in. But this is more important than people give it credit for. I have a friend of mine that's like, visions, I don't really care. But this isn't just, a vision is such a, I don't know, it's a fluffy word kind of. But you can think of it like the charting your destination. So Simon Sinek, I'll just bring him into this. He wrote a book called Start With Why. A lot of business people have read that book and understand kind of at its core that it is always about something bigger. This isn't about necessarily this vision that I'm talking about, the context I'm speaking about, is that you have to understand your personal why. Simon Sinek came at it from the standpoint that as a business owner, so for me, for example, in the business that I have created here, I have to be able to articulate why I'm doing it if I want people to buy anything from me. That it's not about what I do or even how I do it, but it's why I do it. That all makes perfect sense to me. But this isn't about other people. This is about you and what you want to see occur and what you want to see happen. Basically deciding that you are going to choose to be the leading actor in the movie script of your life instead of just every single day just kind of floating. So I just wanted to make that distinction. So Glow said her original vision, Glow has been in a couple workshops with me and has done this process with me. She said it's happening on July 5th. That's just 2 days away. And she says now she'll need to adjust it or create a new one. Exactly. So I love that, Glow. You're actually bringing something up that, you know, I would have eventually gotten to, but I can even say it now. I think that's the thing is that visions are, once we get into the process, you're really going to see that. But visions aren't just like 6 years down the road, to the 5-year plan or 10-year plan. You can certainly do that, but this is something very specific. And once that happens, so like Glow, hers happens on July 5th. It happens to be surrounding a wedding, which I'm so excited for you. Can't wait to hear how it all goes. But that's an event and it happens. And then now that it's over, she can think about what kind of her next thing is that she wants to accomplish. And she'll write a new vision around that. So visions are fluid and they change over time and they should change over time. Okay. So hopefully that's kind of enough preamble for you. I called it a pre-ramble last week, which is funny because that's what I do, but I'm not rambling today. I've got notes and I've got an outline for you all. So Well, I'll share this with you too. So this is an actual process that you can find in the Groove Finders Guide series. This is a companion workbook that I wrote to How Mommy Got Her Groove Back. And I'm taking it directly out of there. And then at the end, I'll share the link because you can get that for free. The PDF version of this whole workbook you can get for free for listening. So that's my gift to you because I care and I love you. Okay, so here is the guide, kind of the 7 steps. So the first is to describe the environment. Now, I'm going to share with you at the end kind of the common coaching or the critique that I give back to people when I first review a draft that they've written and submitted to me. So this one, the environment, it's one time or moment in time. It's an event or it's a situation. It is not like a whole month of experiences because your brain, again, we're trying to target in on one thing that is happening that would tell us that we've achieved whatever we're trying to achieve. So I'm going to be sharing my whole example, my personal vision for myself and my business with you in a minute here. Mine's about my business. So for me, it happens to be at a moment in time when I see a number in my, like kind of the back end system of my business where I see that I've hit a certain number in revenue. Okay, so for you, it might be opening your checkbook and seeing this. It may be depositing a check of a certain amount if it's all financial. If it's more about family, it could be, I have one friend that it was, purchasing a place in the country for her beautiful family. So it's something concrete and it's something specific. We can't write about an entire month of activity or a year of activity. We can't say like, start our vision by, I'm so grateful for the year I've had. That's too vague. Okay, so just like a movie scene, this is the scene that indicates that you've arrived where you want to arrive. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Specific, one scene, one scenario. The second step is to describe exactly what is happening. So again, the shorter experience, the easier it is to write about. And also describing the environment, back to even number 1 and number 2, you're describing it. So you're using great detail. You're talking about where you're at, what's the environment, are you inside, are you outside, are there things that you're smelling, are there things that you're seeing, are there things that you're hearing. The idea is to write it as if you'd have to see it on a movie screen. What language, what description would have to be in there for your brain to be able to visualize it, okay? So describing the environment, which is the scene where it's taking place, describing the what, where it is, the situation, the scenario, or in this case, the scene. The third step is to describe the dialogue. So I'm guessing this is whatever this is that you're going to be writing about isn't occurring with just you. There's probably other people in the room with you or outside with you or wherever this is occurring. And again, you're the leading role, and now you're thinking supporting roles. Who is in this vision with you? So in mine, you'll see my spouse is in my vision with me. And then my clients are in my vision with me because it's written about my business. And the whole thing with describing the dialogue is instead of saying, and then my husband told me he was proud. Instead of saying your husband told you he was proud or whatever it is you're writing, actually say, and then my husband said, comma, quotes what he said. Because there again, our brains look at things differently when we read it in dialogue versus when we said, this is what somebody said to me. Hopefully that makes sense. I think it will once you hear my example. Number 4, describe the emotions. So here again, the whole point of even taking the time to write a vision like this is to give your brain a picture of a desired future state. And ideally, it elicits an emotional response in us. That's why we're taking the time to write it. And it should be something that makes us really feel something deep down. I need a cup, again, at Corn Growers, National Corn Growers, North Dakota Corn Growers Association, because I'm a rural kid, right? I need a drink is what I was going to say. So let me take a sip of my coffee real quick, because I get froggy. You guys are the first people, like I've talked to my children, but they're gone now. So you're the first people I'm talking to this morning. Thinking about, how you want to feel when that thing happens. how are the other people in the vision going to feel when this happens for you? Are they equally elated? Like for me, I tend to cry at movies, even if I feel touched or I feel, I cry when I'm happy too. So a lot of times for me, tears come, whether I'm happy, sad, anything. If I'm angry too, I cry. But really taking the time to slow down and think